Now you rap now.
Yes.
Have you always rapped, or is this something that's recently?
No, I always have.
Okay.
I always have. I was rapping. I've been doing this about 10 years now.
Okay. Now, you're married to HotBoy Turk, correct?
Yes. No, I thought you was going to say something else.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. No, so you're married to HotBoy Turk. Now, how did you meet him? How did you get romantically involved with him?
It's strange. I met him actually at my doorstep in Memphis, Tennessee. He came over to my apartment with a mutual friend of ours, and it's like ever since that day, we just kicked it off, and, you know, we're just inseparable, you know. We just clicked instantly.
Now, when the incident happened where he got arrested and the shooting happened and so on and so forth, that happened at your place in Memphis?
Yes.
I see. And how long were you dating? How long were you guys even a couple right before, prior to that incident happening, or you guys were just talking and messing with each other, or?
Well, you know, we were a couple. We did what couples did. You know what I'm saying? He was at my house. We practically lived together, you know, and it was just a short amount of time. We only knew each other 2 months before the shootout happened at my apartment. But in that 2-month time span, so much happened. And every incident just brought us closer and closer and closer together, you know. It was like we've known each other for years, other than just those 2 months.
So 2 months, you guys are messing with each other, ended up being girlfriend and boyfriend? Could you say that before, in that 2-month period, or was it after he ended up going to prison and doing time that the girlfriend-boyfriend thing was more of a?
I would say kind of leaning more towards the girlfriend boyfriend thing, because within those 2 months he didn't leave. Like, we clicked that instantly to where he just stayed there. He was in Memphis and was there every night, you know. It wasn't a I'll come and see you, and we do it, and he leave, and I might hear from him, I might not. No, it was a constant thing.
I see. But would you consider it serious at that time, or?
Well, I mean, you can't consider anything too serious in that short amount of time, but I could consider it having the potential to be something very serious.
Well, some people do fall in love very fast. Some people grow on to each other and fall in love, and some people move very fast when they fall in love. Some people, you know, it takes time.
Well, yeah, I can say that it did move very fast, and we did create a bond. Were we in love? I'm not really sure. You know, everything moved so fast, but I knew that's where we ultimately ended up.
Now, when you guys met, were you rapping at that time? Because obviously he's a rapper. Were you rapping at that time?
Well, at the time, I was writing songs. I hadn't started recording yet. And I didn't even, when I met him, I didn't even let him know that I was a rapper, or that that's what I aspired to be, or that I was writing songs. He didn't know anything about that. It's only when I would leave, because I had a job at the time. I worked at the National Civil Rights Museum, and Turk would be at the apartment and snooping around, you know, digging through my business. And one particular day, he ended up finding one of my notebooks, and I came home, and he said, "You rap?" And I'm like, "How you know?" You know? And I was like, "Yeah." And then he read it, and he thought it sounded pretty good. And, you know, I was always told that I was good at what I did, you know, just as far as rapping and maybe saying my songs to my friends and like, "What y'all think about this?" And then sometimes, you know, your friends will just tell you, you think they'll tell you what you want to hear, but I was actually good. And he saw that too, just from reading it.
Now, after that shootout and that incident, he ended up having to spend 9 years in prison?
Or 8 years, 8 months, 16 days, as he would say.
Right. but we can say 9, give or take.
Most definitely.
Were you rapping in the studio at all in those 9 years? Did you take it to the next level, or was it after he came out back into society that?
Oh no, I definitely took it to the next level. I went full force with it, and he encouraged me to do so. You know, he got in touch with different people at the studios, made sure I got in. I did my first mixtape, and I mean, it took off. I started my Made Woman movement, and it was girls and women all over the city wanting to be made women, getting Made Woman tattooed. If you see any woman that got Made Woman tattooed on their wrist, like I do, you know they were a part of my crew. You know, they were influenced by me in a positive way. And, you know, it just really took off, like, almost instantly.
Now, okay, you guys were together for 2 months. Then he has this shootout situation, has to do 9 years in prison. 2 months sounds so small of amount of time for someone to stick around for something of that nature. I mean, in my head, I can't see a woman, you know, around for 2 months and then staying around for that nature. That just doesn't sound like something you hear. I mean, especially in these days, what, 2017? Are there people that, I mean, aside from yourself? I
mean, there may be. I don't know anybody. No, I take that back. I do know one individual, you know, who had to, there was a friend of mine who had to stick something out with someone. But within those 2 months, like, Turk showed me a lot. A lot of people don't know that he was, you know, he went to jail, but before he went to jail, I was going to court in New Orleans. I'm from Memphis, and I had a charge that I was going to court for in New Orleans. And he went through that process with me, even though it wasn't as serious, you know, but it showed me that he had my back. You see what I'm saying? This is somebody who wanted to stay so far away from the courts and so far away from, you know, anything dealing with police, judge, any of that, but was right there when I had to go to court in New Orleans, and he made sure I was straight. So we just had like a bond that was far beyond understanding. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't minuscule. It was very big, and that's what took us throughout his whole prison sentence. Just the small things that happened within those first 2 months.
Now, okay, love is one thing, friendship is another. Why not just be friends with a guy? You've known him for 2 months. Why not just be friends with a guy while he's going through his legal situation and his prison time? Why not just be a very good friend? Why go to the next level past friendship?
That's the way God wanted it to be. You know, sometimes you feel a way that's out of your control. You know, if I was thinking in the mental, I would think, okay, you know, I've only known him for 2 months. I really just don't know him. So I'll be cool with him. If he needs something, he know how to call me. Or God can put it in your heart and can place somebody in your life to where you absolutely don't have any control of it. And I didn't force it to be any other way. I just went with what felt natural to me. You know what I'm saying? And just being there for him was natural for me, especially seeing the circumstances. I've always been like a realist and a loyal person, and just to actually be there to witness the events that led him to that prison sentence, and I knew what happened. I wouldn't be able to look at myself in the mirror to know that I just left somebody who was in a fucked up situation like that, who meant nobody no harm, you know, who was doing that, minding their own business, you know. So that's just not in me anyway. And the love part, you can't do nothing but love him. You know what I'm saying? He was just a good guy. All around, he was just a good guy.
Now, I can't remember, it's been a while since I've done an interview with HotBoy Turk. So I can't remember the actual details, but and if you can just fill me in. But did he take a plea or did he take it to trial? I can't remember his case.
Well, he went to trial for a convicted felon with a firearm in the feds, and he was found guilty of that. And then he had an attempted murder charge that ran concurrent with the convicted felon with a firearm charge. So that's how that went.
So he did go to trial.
Yes.
Now, what was your reaction, if you can remember? What was your reaction when he lost?
I can most definitely remember. I mean, I fell down in the street because I couldn't make it back to court fast enough. Like, the jury came back so quick. I was thinking that I could run home or run get something to drink or something to eat and come back, but before I could even make it into the courtroom, they had already given a verdict, and I was told over the phone from the attorney, you know, and I just felt like my soul had been swiped completely out of my body because it was just a fight, you know what I'm saying? And to know what you know and still be hit with a guilty verdict, it's just, you know, it was just unheard of. I wasn't thinking that was going to be the case, but, you know, it was.
What was his sentence?
He was sentenced to 10 years in the feds. He had 12 years in the state that was initially supposed to be ran concurrent, but you know how them people, they get with the shit, and they did it consecutively, and that's how he ended up winning his appeal. He went back on appeal and won the appeal and was able to, you know, be released after 8 years, 8 months, and 16 days.
Now, I remember vividly the interview I did with him, and he said that I think it was you and maybe one more person that was really fighting for him around that time, I guess dealing with the appeal and stuff like that for his life, and nobody else had his back, if I can remember. That's how it went.
Yeah, that could be right. You know, for the majority of his sentence, it was me and his manager at the time, Steve, who is no longer with us right now. You know, God bless his soul. And when he passed, you know, it was just me. Now, don't get me wrong, we've had people to peep in and peep out, you know what I'm saying? But just for the long haul, nobody.
Okay, so how does this process work? The verdict comes in, you have your reaction to it, now he's got to do all this time. How do you deal with, what's the plan? Was there a plan on how you guys were going to, you know, stay in communication and you know, or were you guys just, you know, going with the flow?
Well, he asked me, was I going to stay with him? Was I going to, you know, ride it out with him? And I told him, yeah, you know, and I did that. And the plan was to, you know, get with the lawyers, study cases, make sure the lawyers doing their job, you know what I'm saying? Make the court cases, make them be in court the day they supposed to be in court. Don't, because they'll keep setting shit off, you know, and they did that. Like, a lot of the time we were going to court just to be set out for another day. So the plan is just to do what you got to do what it takes to get out of jail.
Yeah, I can't remember, like I said, I can't remember the full details of our discussion. It's been a minute, but now that you're saying some other details, it is reminding me of stuff. I think he said that, if I can remember, I can't, you know, I guess I can't, but he said something to the liking of, like, he was figuring out more stuff about his situation just by him, you know, taking time to read some of the law books while he was incarcerated that his lawyer was or not doing at the time. I can't remember how it went, but he was figuring stuff on his own, which kind of snowballed the process into his appeal.
Most definitely. Like, he had to. Otherwise, Lord knows what would have happened. Our mistake was giving the lawyers too much money at one time and they get comfortable. We knew that was the mistake. We damn near had to become the lawyers ourselves. He would study the cases, give them to me. I'll go to the lawyer and make sure he has this. When you go in front of this judge, you need to say this, you need to say that, you need to say this. And it's fucked up because, you know, I'm not paying you to do your work, but at the same time, you've already been paid, so we got to do what we got to do. Because at the end of the day, it's his life, it's my life, you know. If I'm deciding to, you know, go through this with him and wait until he comes home, that's my life too. You see what I'm saying? So we really had to become the lawyers damn near through the whole process. They were very ineffective, very ineffective. And a lot of them may hear this and may not like it, but I don't give a damn. You know, I had to spend more time on the lawyers as more than anything. Like, we got to points where they stopped answering the phones, you know, wouldn't return the calls. So that's when I have to go and sit in the lawyer's office all day and say, look, somebody's going to talk to me and somebody's going to tell me something. You see what I'm saying? And just with us just staying on them like that, you know, we were able to get the results eventually that we wanted.
Now, and just bringing it all back in retrospect, they were trying to get him to run the sentences consecutively, not concurrently.
Yes.
So if they would have ran consecutively without that appeal, it would have been how long?
It would have been 22 years.
22 years.
Yes.
Now, somebody in a similar situation, everybody's situation is different, but you said the mistake was giving the lawyer too much money at one time in them getting comfortable. Is there anything that can be prevented in that sense? Like, could it have been done another way? Are all the lawyers that, you know, help, you know, people of that nature act that they need a certain amount of money up front to you know what I mean? Is there any way to prevent something like that from somebody watching this happening to them?
I can't put every lawyer in the same box as the ones that we dealt with. You know, if the lawyers say, okay, to be here to do this preliminary hearing or whatever, I need $10,000. Okay, you give him $10,000. That's his fee. You give him $10,000, but you go to court and get set off and get set off and get set off. You know, the average Joe, the normal person is not paying the lawyer all up front. You know, they gonna inch them. They gonna give them $5. Get out here and make probably $200, $300, give them that. You see what I'm saying? But we were anxious. We felt like, shit, he want this money, let's get him this money, because they'll make you false promises. And now I've learned that if a lawyer guarantees you something, you can't believe them because they never know what's going to happen when they get in their courtroom.
So basically you almost felt like if you give the attorney this amount of money, they're going to get the job done because inching it might prolong it.
Exactly.
But really, it did the opposite.
It did the opposite. And it could have just been the particular attorneys that we were dealing with. Who knows? But that's what ended up happening. I
see. Okay, so you were prepared to ride it out. Now, the big question is, and I've spoke to Turk about this as well in the interview, is being faithful, right? Yeah. Because 1 year to some people can seem like a while. Some people it could go kind of quick, but 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, I mean, that's a lot of time. And with somebody that's incarcerated, they're surrounded by the same sex, right? So it's easier for somebody not to, well, you would think it would be easier for somebody in that environment not to cheat, right?
Yeah.
Versus somebody on the free world who has all this temptation and all these other things that come in their way. So how does one deal with that? And how does one keep the faith?
Well, I can't speak on anybody else. I can speak on myself. That wasn't my focus. That wasn't my focus at the time. You know, before I met Turk, I had, you know, different guy friends. I've had boyfriends. It wasn't anything new, you know, and they played games. But what was new was meeting somebody who, even though we were young at the time, he was respectful. You know, he was showing me the attention that I needed. He was on some grown man shit. You see what I'm saying? It wasn't all about having sex and all of that. You know, of course that happened, but that wasn't my focus. You know, I've done that already. It wasn't a big thing. So our main goal was to do what we had to do to get him out of jail, and that's what we did. So that really wasn't a big thing for me. I tell a lot of people, anybody can have sex with a person, but when you have like a mental connection to someone and they feel you on a level that somebody that you just sleeping with, y'all don't have that connection. You see what I'm saying? That's easy to do. Give me somebody that's going to challenge me mentally, that's going to make me feel good on the inside, that's going to make my mind feel right, that's going to make me feel good about dealing with you. You see what I'm saying? I can be sleeping with you, but then I got to wonder if you're doing this, that, and the other. And with him, I had that that safety. I felt safe. So I didn't think about, you know, sleeping with other guys. That wasn't on my mind.
So his whole time, 9 years, right? Didn't have sex with anybody?
No. When Turk went to jail, like, we've had our differences. Don't get me wrong. He's done things that he knows that I didn't appreciate. And we've had our moments away from each other, but we never did anything that would be unforgivable, that would make, you know, him look at me and not want to be with me, or vice versa. So that's what I'll say about that.
Now, there were times when we talked about, in our interview with Turk, about being faithful in that time, and so on and so forth. There were times where he was unfaithful. How did you deal with that?
Well, I had to give him his space because, you know, I'm just going to put it like this. I'm going to treat anybody right that's treating me right. And that's just point blank, period. And when I'm like, okay, you in jail, the least you can do is do right. But if I'm getting word from people saying, oh, Turk told me this, and Turk, you know, I got a letter, you know, it's small bullshit, but at the end of the day, that's all you can do. So I don't need to hear that, because if you breaking your neck for someone, you expect them to just treat you right. And once I found that evidently, you know, if you want to do this, I need to give you your space and let you do that all the way. You know, and a person will miss your presence. If someone shows you that they may want something else, you let them go have it. And that's how I felt, because I felt like I had given my all. You know what I'm saying? And it was nothing.
When you had to give him space and you found out about him, you know, cheating, and I say cheating to a certain, there's only so much cheating you can do when you're locked up.
Yeah.
And cheating for him was talking to somebody else, I guess?
Yeah.
Right. So when you know this is going on and you find out this is going on, do you feel like, okay, well, I'll give him his space, I'll do my own thing for a second? Did you get to that point, or did you, hey, I'll give him his space, but I'll still ride it out?
Oh, no, I gave him his space all the way. All the way. For a moment, you know, there was absolutely no contact, no anything, no nothing, just all the way shut completely down, you know. And it wasn't, I didn't do that as a way to show him, oh, he gonna need me, or I hope he fail without me. No, I did that because, you know, I need to let you do what you want to do. And that was it. I didn't say, I'm about to go mess with these dudes or do anything like that. I just put the focus on me, you know, and just live my life. During that time, I just, you know, did what I had to do to better myself as a woman and just keep it moving. You know, I didn't know what the future was going to be. I didn't know if we was going to end up back together eventually or if that was the end, you know. I treated it as if it was the end. I did because, you know, I just felt a level of betrayal, you know.
Now give me the timetable. When you find out that he's cheating on you, how long are we in his bid?
Oh.
Was it 3 years in, 4, 5 years in when this happens? 6?
I'm trying to think. We were deep in it. It wasn't in the beginning. We were deep in it, probably maybe about 6 years, possibly.
And how did you find out about the cheating stuff? Did he just admit to it? Did you sense something was going on? Like,
yeah, you know. Oh, he was big shit popping. I go to the jail. He too cool. You see what I'm saying? He could see me or he couldn't. He wasn't fucked up about it. And I said, oh, okay. You know, it don't take me long. And on top of that, you know, you got females that can't wait to tell you, yo nigga this, yo nigga that. So, you know, and I always play it cool. I'm not gonna argue with no females. I'm not gonna argue with him. You see what I'm saying? You just keep it moving. That's all. That's all. And it's going to end up how it's going to end up. If y'all supposed to be together, you will. If not, you know, it was fun while it lasted. You know? And that's how it was.
But how did you find out? What was your confirmation?
Girls were telling me. At that time, you know, you had Facebook and all that. I was getting messages and, you know, females talking to him on the phone, all that stuff.
So you confront him about it?
Yeah.
And does he deny it? Does he admit to it?
Oh, no. He denied it. He denied it at first. It was a few little incidents, but it seemed to all happen around the same time. And then I don't know if it was somebody that was really telling him what he wanted to hear or what. But he was brand new with me, so, you know.
Now, how much space do you give him? You know, you said you cut ties with him completely. How long would you say you cut ties for?
I'd say it was about a year.
Now, how did the ties get broken? He reaches out to you, you reach back out to him. How does that line of communication get back opened up?
Oh, he reached out to me millions of times. You feel me? But I was done. You know, I'm a person, I think like this. If you with a man, and this is not a situation that me and Turk had, but if you with a man and he calls you a bitch, you know, just disrespects you, and there's no consequences, you need to get ready to be called a bitch for the rest of this relationship. You see what I'm saying? There must be some type of consequences to get the respect that you deserve. And I know I deserve respect. I know that I know my worth. I always have, you know. So I would not talk to him, period. He would call my phone. I wouldn't answer. He would write letters. I wouldn't respond. He'll call on three-way with maybe my mom or my sister, and when I hear it's him on the phone, I hang up, you know, because he had me fucked up. But my cousin had, her daughter's father was in prison, and him and Turk were actually in the same facility. She wanted to go visit him. She wanted me to take her. And I said, okay, I'll take you. And at that time, Turk had been reaching out to me for so long. So I said, all right, I'll come see you. My cousin wanted to go see her baby daddy. You know, I'll come see you. It wasn't on no I wasn't on no lovey-dovey, none of that, because I'm still hot, you know what I'm saying? Because how dare you? But that's when the ice was broken, you know. That's when I slowly started letting them inch back in, you see.
Was that an awkward meeting? Or was it just like old times?
No, it was not like old times. It was not like old times at all. I just felt, you know, I couldn't just let it go. I couldn't just let it go. No, you just gotta know you have to miss me, and that's what he did. But I must give it to him. He was very persistent. He was not just finna let me. Now, don't get me wrong, for a little while, he was still feeling himself, you know. He was. He thought he was, shit, I got bitches, you know. But they played out.
Now, at what point during the sentence does the appeal get approved and go through and he wins it? At what point in that 9-year span?
Let's see, this was around, I want to say, maybe the 7th year. I'm not completely sure. But, I mean, there was like a load off, because after just constantly fighting to lose, like everything we tried was just getting shut down. But to win this appeal, it was like, oh, I can't believe it. God is real, you know. So
when he wins the appeal, was that in the midst of the cheating break for a year, or was that after it, or did that happen before it? Or?
No, that happened after it. I believe that happened after it, because he was in the feds when all this happened. So that was after.
So he wins the appeal, I guess, right after you guys get back, after you let him back in and inch his way in, or?
No. Let me think. He wins the appeal. He wins the. You saying before the cheating?
Yeah, before that little cheating scandal happened between y'all two, and you guys stopped communicating.
Yeah, he won the appeal was before the cheating.
Oh, okay.
The appeal was before the cheating.
So he wins the appeal, load is off your back, and then the cheating situation arises.
Yeah, it surfaces, because ain't no telling how long it had been going on. It surfaces. I know about it now, you know. So.
And then, okay, you have that visit with him. He inches his way back in. And how does it get back to the point where the old feeling where you guys got tight and, had that certain bond mentally and so on and so forth? Do you guys get back to that point before he gets released from prison?
Yes, we
Okay.
get back to that point before he gets released from prison. This is a person that I know. So, and I have like a discerning spirit. I can tell if somebody's trying to pull wool over my eyes, not stupid at all. And really what comes from the heart reaches the heart, and I could tell he was sincere in his heart. So I was like, okay, I'll give him another chance. You've suffered enough. So I let him back in.
Now, what was that like, his first day back home?
Ooh. I don't know if I can talk about his first day back home. Y'all know I ended up having twins shortly after, so y'all already know. Y'all already know what went down with that, but it was just a blessing. It seemed unreal. As soon as he come home, we do our thing. We back together again. It's back on. It's back popping. Like, he's back like he's never left. He's doing shows all over. He's taking me places that I've never been, experiencing a lot of things that I've never experienced. And I really appreciated him coming home and actually doing the things that he said he was going to do while he was in jail. Because, you know, you get a lot of people that have dudes that are inmates. They just, you know, they just tell them what they want to hear to get what they can get from them at the time. Like Turk was doing all them other girls. But, you know, which is not a good thing. I don't condone that, you know. I don't condone trying to get over on nobody, none of that. But it was refreshing, and it was good. I liked it.